Today, we are diving into something called the Venus Project. Now, a lot of people write this off as just pure science fiction, but what if I told you its core ideas are already all around us, changing everything from the cities we live in to the way businesses are run? Let's get into it.
So it all boils down to this one big question. It's the question that obsessed its founder, the engineer and futurist Jacque Fresco. See, he didn't look at the world like a politician or an economist. He looked at it like an engineer staring at a complex system, wondering, could we design our entire economy for peak efficiency? Just like a high-performance engine?
And yeah, I know what you're thinking. When you see the pictures of these incredible, gleaming, circular cities and automation everywhere, it absolutely looks like something out of a blockbuster movie. It's really easy to just dismiss the whole thing as a beautiful, but totally impossible dream.
But, and this is the big twist, if you peel back that sci-fi shell and really look at the engineering logic underneath, you find something fascinating. Its principles aren't just theories anymore. They're actually being put to work right now in some of the most advanced parts of our world.
Okay, so first things first. We have to separate the utopian vision from the practical, nuts and bolts engineering that it's built on. Now, this is a really important point. The Venus Project isn't a political party. It's not trying to get you to vote for anything. It's a research and design lab co-founded by Jacque Fresco and his partner Roxanne Meadows. Their goal wasn't to start a revolution. It was to create a blueprint, a kind of model for a completely different way of running society. And they called it a resource-oriented economy.
This right here, this gets to the very heart of Fresco's engineering mindset. He argued that our biggest economic problem isn't that we don't have enough stuff. It's that our system for managing and distributing all that stuff is incredibly inefficient and wasteful.
And that brings us to the real engine behind the whole idea. A totally different way of thinking about economics. A new logic that moves away from our current model to something else entirely.
So look at this. On one side, you've got our current market logic. Here, everything revolves around money. The main signal is price, and the whole goal is to manage financial flows. It's basically an accounting approach to running the world. Now, the resource logic flips that on its head. The focus isn't on money. It's on the actual, physical flow of materials, energy, and information. The key signal isn't price. It's real-time data. And the goal isn't just to manage money. It's to manage the entire physical system for maximum efficiency. It's a huge shift, from accounting to pure systems engineering.
Okay, I get it. That might still sound a little abstract. So where can we actually see this engineering logic in the real world today? Well, the clearest example is how we're starting to manage our modern smart cities.
Just think about a city for a second. It's not just a bunch of buildings, right? It's this living, breathing system of interconnected flows. You've got transportation, power grids, water, information, packages, all moving at the same time. And honestly, trying to manage all of that efficiently is one of the single biggest challenges any city faces.
And this is exactly where that resource logic starts to click into place. Cities are now using a whole new toolkit to manage these flows. We have smart sensors that adjust traffic lights on the fly to ease congestion. Automated grids that can reroute power in a split second to prevent a blackout. There are even digital twin models, which are virtual copies of the entire city where they can test out big changes before spending a dime.
And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. Let's just take energy. Cities that roll out smart grid technology, which is a core principle of this kind of resource management, often see a 10 to 30% drop in energy costs and waste. That's a massive gain in efficiency.
So here's the bottom line. Taking the systems approach gives you a double win. For the city's budget, it means less money wasted and much better planning. But for the people who actually live there, it means less time stuck in a traffic jam, more reliable power, and a cleaner, healthier place to live.
All right, now let's zoom in a bit. We've seen how this works for a whole city, but it's even more direct when you apply it to a single business, which, if you think about it, is already a kind of managed system. So, businesses can really lean into three key ideas here. First, plan your operations based on the actual flow of resources, your materials, your energy, your people's time, not just what the spreadsheet says. Second, automate everything you can, using robotics and algorithms for everything from logistics to predicting what customers will want. And third, embrace what's called circularity, where the waste from one part of your business becomes the fuel for another.
And get this, just like with the smart cities, the payoff here is huge. When companies get serious about automating their routine processes, whether that's in the warehouse or in their planning software, they often see productivity just skyrocket, anywhere from 20 to 60%. And we're not talking about replacing people, we're talking about replacing inefficiency.
And this really shows you the key takeaway.
This resource-focused approach isn't against profit, it actually fuels it. Your profit becomes the natural result of having a super optimized, low-waste, and predictable system. You stop trying to just make more, and you start focusing on how to make things smarter.
So, let's bring this all home. We started out looking at what seemed like a far-off sci-fi utopia, but along the way, we've ended up talking about some of the biggest trends shaping our world right now. Just think about these terms: smart cities, Industry 4.0, the circular economy, digital logistics, data-driven management. These aren't just buzzwords, they're at the absolute cutting edge of the global economy. And every single one of them is a real-world application of that core Venus project logic, managing complex systems using real-time data about resources.
You know, this quote just perfectly captures what's going on. The full-blown vision of the Venus Project might stay science fiction for a while, but its core ideas, they aren't waiting for some big revolution. They're seeping into our economy, piece by piece, fundamentally changing how we think about what it means to be efficient and how we build our future.
And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating thought. The question isn't if these engineering principles are going to define our future. The real question is, how fast is this quiet evolution going to accelerate and completely transform the world as we know it?